You're a registered donor. Your organs will be harvested while you're still alive, you said. Dead people cannot donate organs, right?
Yeah. All the homeless people disappearing from your cities. Usually, you will see groups of homeless people scattered throughout the town.
And he woke up during that procedure. So a witness named Nicoletta Martin says, I've dedicated my entire life to organ donation and transplant. It's very scary to me now that these things are allowed to happen.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Huh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all pay. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just.
You're a registered donor. Your organs will be harvested while you're still alive, you said. Dead people cannot donate organs, right?
Yes, that's true. There's all these doctors coming out saying, hey, we're having patients come into the hospital who are okay, but by the criteria, we have to consider them brain dead. And when they're brain dead, we have to harvest their organs. They're basically having people who were going to fully recover or just pass away peacefully. But in a lot of cases, it's people who are going to fully recover. And they're giving them these paralyzing drugs, these paralyzing agents, so that they can harvest their organs. Because now these people, they can't express pain and they can't communicate. But there is a lot of evidence that these people are still relatively conscious. And that's why so many children and people who are declared brain dead.
Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. So this video is for entertainment purposes only. If you'd like to know more about this information, please do your own research. Do not come for me. Do not come for me. This video is for entertainment purposes only, okay? Let's enjoy.
Beds, we did every intake and output and did these things. So we were a leader in the field of neonatology. The hospital still is a leader in the field of neonatology. But then I had a baby, Joseph, in 1975, who had flat brain waves and was said to be brain dead. And it was suggested to stop treating him. I said, well, I don't do that. I treat babies, some live, some die, and kept treating him. And he did eventually get off the ventilator, and he went to school and he got straight A's and ran track and played baseball. And he's married, he has 3 children. So because of him, after about 6 months, when he continued to live and was doing much better than anybody would have predicted, I started to investigate brain death. And it took about 2 years till I understood the language of brain death. Brain death is a lie. It's a lie that's been told over and over again, so people don't even realize it's a lie anymore. But it's been a lie from the beginning, continues to be a lie. So I published in the medical literature. I have an article in Journal of the American Medical Association. I have an article in the Gonzaga Law Review. It's 85 pages, has 244 footnotes to it. And because of that, eventually I have continued to talk about brain death. Brain death is a lie. I have talked all over the United States. I've talked in many countries and on this subject and continued to do it, and that's because of different things. That's how I got to meet Ted Fogarty. I didn't meet him myself, but through his cousin, who's a physician, and listened to what I had to say as we went to a football game. And she said, you should know my cousin. So that's how I get involved with this. But the truth is easy, and then once you deviate from the truth, then you have first it's false, but then when people become conscious of it's false, then it's a lie. Brain death is a lie. the way it occurred was that Christian Bernard did the first heart transplant in South Africa in 1967. 3 days later, they did the second heart transplant, and you don't know where that is, but I'll tell you, it was done in Brooklyn, New York. And what they did is they cut the beating heart out of a 3-day-old baby and transplanted it into an 18-day-old baby. And at the end of their surgeries, a short time after the end of their surgeries, both of those babies were dead. It was illegal, it was immoral. And so they had to do something to make it legal. And so what they did is they set up a committee at Harvard, and the committee invented brain death. The committee did not do studies on dogs or cats or rats. They didn't collect data on human beings, they just invented brain death. And they had no patient data, they had no basic science studies. And I know it's really awful when you know about it, and it doesn't get better. It keeps getting worse after that. Then a lot of people think that brain death means flat brainwaves. They're not even required to do brainwave testing. The way they did that, they studied 9 patients, and 2 of the 9 still had brainwave activity. And then they concluded no longer is it necessary to look at brainwaves, so it's not required to look for brainwave activity.
So when they're doing the transplantation on people they say are brain dead,
They're all alive.
They're all alive
Yes.
and completely recoverable.
They're all alive. You cannot.
So they're harvesting organs out of people who are in some way conscious. They just can't communicate.
Well,
When they
consciousness.
feel pain.
Consciousness and pain. I encourage you to sharpen your mind so that you stay focused on one issue or the other.
Sure.
Okay, and consciousness is important, but it's one thing not to demonstrate consciousness, and then we use words like unconscious, but unconscious does not mean that there's no consciousness. It just means that we do not observe consciousness, and there's a difference. So
It's like subjective
right,
observation.
and whether a person shows consciousness or not does not indicate whether they're alive or dead.
Gotcha.
See, and you use consciousness, and what else did you use?
Pain, that they
Oh,
feel
pain.
pain when,
Yeah,
when they
see,
take the organs out.
Pain is one of those things that's real, and we should pay attention to it. But pain is the way that the body knows that something's wrong, and it's the way that healing is initiated. Now, we live in a world where no one should have any pain. Well, there are some sayings: no pain, no gain.
Right.
And every
Pain-free is not exactly a good thing.
the fact of the matter is, it's a bad thing. So focus on pain. Now, here's what happens. Just because a person can't demonstrate pain doesn't mean they don't have pain. You know, a very good example of that is they give paralyzing agents when they take the organs, so that they don't move and they don't squirm.
So horrible.
And even if they don't move and don't squirm, when they cut on them, their heart rate goes up and their blood pressure goes up, which is the response to pain. But they can't demonstrate that they have pain.
Because they're paralyzed. They medically paralyzed them.
Yeah.
So they can't respond by...
Right.
Oh, that's horrible. Horrible.
And it gets really bad if you pay attention to it. So in any event, they invented brain death mainly to get organs, but then also so they don't waste money on treating people who aren't ever going to get a job, who are just going to live and not die. And so you see what brain death is. It's primarily a way to get organs.
No, it's no different than what they did in Germany.
It's exactly what they did in Germany. It's exactly what they did in Germany. And actually, in my research many years ago, when you had to do the research by going to what we call the stacks in the library to get the old journals. And I found articles in the Journal of the American Medical Association in 1919, 1920 of a doctor in Germany who wrote to Journal of the American Medical Association and telling them what the doctors were doing in Germany. He signed it the overseas correspondent and told the doctors in the United States what was going on in Germany, and that was before Hitler. So in many ways, what's going on in this country is very similar to what was going on then. And it took World War II to stop those doctors. But then what happened was that their records all went to the Russians.
But no, I thought that through the Operation Paperclip, that the doctors, we brought the German doctors to the United States.
Some of them came to the United States. Very few of them got charged with anything. Very, very few of the German doctors. And the German doctors were already involved in doing evil things before Hitler. Remember, I told you in 1920, Hitler didn't come into power until 1933 or 34. And Hitler was elected, by the way. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
He was elected and then became the dictator. And so yes, it is very similar to what was going on in Germany, and it was the German doctors. And I'm not opposed to doctors for lots of reasons, and I'm excited about many of the advances that have happened in medicine. But
there's a fine line, though. There's an ethical and a moral line. Right. However, in a practice.
And the ethical and moral line, those are rooted in words. One is Greek and the other is Latin, and they are very similar in the sense that they both revolve around how one ought to behave, and ought is a very.
Some of these communities that we live in, I want y'all to understand, they got a whole organ harvesting ring going on. Yeah, they got a whole organ harvesting ring going on. I keep telling you, especially if you're a melanated descendant. Yeah, because your organs are, look, let me tell you something about your organs. Your organs are worth millions, man. You want to know why? Because any other ethnical group can use your organs. They can't, every other ethnical group, they got to use their organs for the same ethnical group. But when it comes to the black man, the so-called black man, your organs can be used for any other ethnic group. That's why they want your organs, man. You see what I'm saying? But like I do say, man, look, I say this, man. When it comes to this situation, man, I watched this situation play out 1,000 times with Shanquilla Robinson. I watched it play out with, what is her name? Kanika Jenkins. I watched it played out with often the time these parents have a lot to do with it, y'all. They have a lot to do with it. I mean, like, look, bro, let me tell y'all something, man. Me personally, man, if my son was in there, I would have been just hysterical, bro. I would have been hysterical. Like, I would have been, enraged to the point of where I was ready to go cray. And so for me, just watching that video, the energy, even though I feel like I see him panicking and doing all that type of stuff, bro, it wasn't the energy that I expect from a person who knows that the hospital was playing games and trying to take your child shit.
This is absolutely terrifying. The man in the middle was pronounced brain dead, and he woke up when they were doing surgery to remove his organs. This happened on October 25th, 2021 in Kentucky at Baptist Health Richmond Hospital. So he was sent to the ER from what appeared to be an OD, and while there, he went into cardiac arrest and they coded him. They were able to get him back, but the family was told that he had no reflexes, no signs of life, and pretty much that he was brain dead. So the next day, they decided to take him off of life support, which is when they found out he was a registered organ donor. His name is Anthony Thomas Hoover II, but he goes by TJ, and this is his sister. To honor his wishes, they went ahead and decided to go forward with organ donation. So over the next 2 days, his organs were tested to see if any were viable. Part of the testing included a cardiac catheterization. And he woke up during that procedure. So a witness named Nicoletta Martin says, "I've dedicated my entire life to organ donation and transplant. It's very scary to me now that these things are allowed to happen and there's not more in place to protect donors." Now, she wasn't assigned to his case that day, but she thought she might get drafted. So she reviewed the chart, and that's when she found out about him waking up during the cardiac cath. The donor had woken up during his procedure that morning for a cardiac catheterization, and he was thrashing around on the table. Martin says doctors then sedated him when he woke up, and plans to recover his organs proceeded. And another witness who has come forward is Natasha Miller. She says she was getting ready to do her job preserving donated organs for transplantation when the nurses wheeled the donor into the OR. She quickly realized something wasn't right. Though the donor had been declared dead, he seemed to her very much alive. He was moving around, kind of thrashing, thrashing around on the bed. And then when we went over there, you could see he had tears coming down. He was crying visibly. The donor's condition alarmed everyone in the OR at Baptist Health Hospital in Richmond, Kentucky, including the two doctors who refused to participate in the organ retrieval. So those two doctors were like, absolutely not, we are out. She said it was very chaotic and everyone was just very upset. Miller says she overheard the case coordinator at the hospital for her employer, Kentucky Organ Donor Affiliates, CODA, call her supervisor for advice. So the coordinator calls the supervisor at the time, and she was saying that he was telling her that she needed to find another doctor to do it, that we were going to do this case. She needs to find someone else. And she's like, there is no one else. She was crying, the coordinator, because she was getting yelled at. Now, let's back up to before the patient got into the OR. They did an honor walk, and during that walk, the sister said that he actually opened his eyes and looked at her like, help me, I'm still here. And when she asked them about it, they said it was just a reflex. So anyway, this organization, CODA, is saying that it's being misrepresented. It didn't happen that way. So the whole thing's being investigated. And the only reason it's coming to light now, 3 years later, is because witnesses have started to come forward. Apparently, some of them quit their jobs. Some of them ended up going to therapy. Like, it really messed them up, because how does that happen? It's been almost 3 years to the date, and TJ is still alive.
Now, the next movie I thought about when he showed the movie They Clone Tyrone is Get Out. Okay, now this is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is true, right? But you know what else I also think about? The young man who's basically was found unalive in his high school basketball court with his organs missing, and all the other black women and men that are found with their organs missing, and also just all the strange things have been happening. What do you mean the homeless people were missing? What? Where did they go? Where did they go? Did they find a place for them? Because I did hear something about that, but I didn't realize it was so big all over the world. Because I heard something, the Chinese homeless people are missing too. That's kind of strange. But yeah, the whole organ black market thing is a serious thing. Because I remember I was listening to this documentary about in Mexico. It's a whole serious thing, and it's expensive, okay? They give you a penny on the dollar. And it's not just in Mexico, it's everywhere. But in the black market, I heard it's like a big thing. Like, they will give you a penny on the dollar for your organs and then go sell it for $250,000. Apparently, your placenta at the hospital is really worth like $50,000, but people are giving it out for free. First of all, I would have never given out my placenta, because that's something. Remember how Kim Kardashian basically fried her placenta and ate it? Okay, that placenta has so much, but people are just literally just giving it out to the hospital for free. Meanwhile, they're going to do whatever they do to it. Look, I've always been suspicious of the hospital, and also the big red bus that be sitting there trying to get your blood for like a movie ticket. Meanwhile, they're selling a bag of blood to someone who is dying for so much money, and if you cannot afford it, then all hell to you. You know, but people are giving it away for a $7 movie ticket. Because I remember
is suing New York City health and hospitals after he says his mother's organs were harvested without her or his consent. The woman's family is speaking exclusively with Eyewitness News investigative reporter Kristen Thorne. And Kristen, she joins us now with the story. Kristen?
Charlene, when Miriam Hoyos de Baldrich arrived at Bellevue Hospital in May 2022 after being hit by a subway train, she was a Jane Doe. No one knew who she was, but she was declared brain dead. The hospital system says although they signed off on the harvesting of her organs 5 days later, which it is legally allowed to do for an unidentified person, it wasn't the hospital's responsibility, they say, to identify her. When 69-year-old Miriam Hoyos de Baldrich disappeared from Seaford May 6, 2022, her family held out hope that because of her dementia, maybe she was just lost.
We were all out looking for her.
But on May 18th, they got a call from a detective in the Nassau Police Department where they had filed a missing persons report 10 days earlier.
Good news is I found her, bad news is she's dead.
The detective told them the day after Hoyos de Baldrich disappeared, she was hit by an L train near 14th Street in Flatiron and was taken to Bellevue Hospital.
She didn't have an ID on her. She didn't have any belongings, so she was a Jane Doe.
The family says she was put on a ventilator and declared brain dead. A little more than a week later, all Hoyos de Baldrich's organs were harvested and donated to Live On New York.
There was a sheet that we were able to see, and every single box was checked off.
Every single organ, tissue, skin, nails, hair, not only to people, but for experiments, studies, schools, universities, and for somebody to make that decision for our family and on her is just, it blows my mind.
The family says that after that, Hoyos de Baldrich's body was sent to the New York City Medical Examiner. That's where they were able to ID her.
We demanded a meeting with Bellevue to get answers, to see what happened.
What did they say during the meeting?
During the meeting, they were just very apologizing, saying that if they had the chance to do it over, they would.
Hoyos de Baldrich's son and husband are suing the New York City Health and Hospital System for failing to identify Hoyos de Baldrich, to locate her family, and for authorizing the organ donation without the consent of her next of kin.
The family deserves justice. They deserve to know what happened, why did it happen.
The hospital system wouldn't comment to Eyewitness News on Hoyos de Baldrich's case or the lawsuit, but court filings show the hospital system is trying to get the lawsuit dismissed, arguing that under state health law, the duty to identify Hoyos de Baldrich resided exclusively with Live On New York. Live On New York told Eyewitness News it is the hospital's responsibility to identify unidentified patients, that Live On New York is an organ procurement organization and does not practice medicine or treat patients. The family says a hospital worker found in Hoyos de Baldrich's pocket a piece of paper with her name written on it. The family says someone at the hospital later showed them that piece of paper, and that is included in the lawsuit as evidence. The family says that the hospital may have had a clue about who she was. The hospital responded in court filings that Hoyos de Baldrich had no legal form of identification when she arrived at Bellevue.
It's a disturbing story. My question is, how common is it?
So I reached out to Live On New York, and they said out of the 272 people who donated organs to their organization in 2022, 6 of those people were unidentified. So it's a small number, but I think it's surprising for people to think that an unidentified person, which is allowed under the New York State Gift Act, that is allowed to happen.
Is that a loophole in this act?
Well, that's what they need to address. So the act doesn't really clearly address what happens with an unidentified person. And I think that's where some improvements need to be made.
Oh, in the meantime, these families.
Absolutely.
And all the grief. Thank you for that, Kristen.
Thank you.
I want y'all to listen to me real good when I explain this story. This story is not funny in any way, shape, or form. I'm just very awkward with talking about things. But I just so happened to come across this article, and this man's name is Anthony Thomas Hoover II. This story took place in Kentucky. Basically, he was pronounced unalive. I'm not sure if TikTok is going to let me say that other word, but he was pronounced unalive, no brain activity or anything like that. His sister was saying that his eyes were moving around the room and that, he was looking around. It was ignored. They did stress tests on his heart, basically got him prepared for organ harvesting, and he started to move around on the table. They went ahead and sedated him. Yep, sedated this man. And they basically come to the realization when the organ harvester, the trauma team, or whoever you want to call them, they basically realized that this man was alive. So I want to know who pronounced him unalive, because I know there's a process to it. You have to do certain tests and check for, there's basically like a whole checklist of things that you have to do before you can determine that a person is no longer with us, right? Did he pass all of these? And why was he sedated again when he started moving? If he starts to move and you're under the impression that this person is no longer with us, wouldn't that raise a red flag? Why sedate him? I'm going to put the link to the story in the comments, but this is just crazy to me. What would you do if this was your family member? Because me, as soon as he was discharged, we were on our way to the attorney's office because there is no way. But this story is just crazy to me because for us to be an advanced country and, you know, just so far ahead of others, how is it that something like this is happening? And the crazy part about it is in the story, it mentions that this isn't the first time that this has happened. This actually happens more often than people think. Just imagine you laying there and hearing how they're going to divvy you up almost. And the entire time you're alive. He's now home. He doesn't walk or talk. According to the story, he doesn't have good memory either. But just let that sit and simmer with y'all. What would you do? Let me know. What would y'all do if that was y'all in that situation or a family member? What would you do?
I just watched a disturbing TikTok. I don't know if y'all have seen it on your For You page, or there was this lady and she lived in some apartments, and the lady downstairs had invited the lady upstairs kid to the birthday party. They just moved in and the kid didn't have very many friends, so the mom was like, okay, well, I gotta clean up and wait till my husband gets home from work, and then I'll bring my son down to the birthday party. The lady comes upstairs, she's got the music playing downstairs for the birthday, and she's like, can your kid come on down to the birthday party, and I'll keep an eye on him until you're done cleaning and your husband gets home from work. The lady hears the music playing downstairs, and she's like, okay, yeah, he can come down there, and when I'm done cleaning and my husband gets home from work, we'll come on down to the birthday party. The husband gets home from work, and he's like, where's my son at? I want to see him. And she's like, he went downstairs to the birthday party. We're going to go on down there as soon as you get changed. Mind you, they still hear the music playing downstairs. Dad gets changed and ready, and they go down and knock on the door. Nobody answers. They keep knocking, still no answer. So they call the police to come over there to see what's going on because they hear the music but no answer. So the police come, nobody still answers, so they go in. Nobody's in the apartment, so they go to the back room, and when they open the door, fucking mind blown. Their son is laying there lifeless. And nobody's there at the apartment. They go turn this baby over, and all his organs are gone. These people done killed her son, took all his organs, and gone. She don't even know who the people are, but she thought that he would be okay because it was her downstairs neighbor and they were having a birthday party. I never let my kids go anywhere. My daughter always gives me hell. Well, now that she's older, she understands, but she used to give me hell about why I wouldn't let her go to people's house or go anywhere. This is truly a very tragic and sad story because organ harvesting is real. It is so real. They done took this baby, unalived him for his organs. We have to watch who our kids are around. I don't trust nobody. I never trusted anyone with my kids when they were smaller, and damn sure don't trust nobody these days with my grandkids. That shit is so sad, and it's just scary, this world that we're living in. I just feel so bad for these parents. Like, we have to be mindful and watch. This world is sick. I don't even know how there's no words. Just jaw drop. Anyways, y'all have a good day.
On Valentine's Day, Phillips' family says she went to Trinity Health Muskegon Hospital after experiencing an unusual headache and claimed it took 16 hours before she was treated. 2 days later, they say she was pronounced dead and were told that she had lots of fluid around her brain, which may have been an effect of diabetic ketoacidosis. Now, on that same day that she was pronounced dead, the family says they became concerned when Gift of Life, Michigan's organ and tissue donor program, showed up to the hospital. According to Phillips' family, her license does identify her as an organ donor, but they said in conversations she expressed that she didn't want her organs donated and she intended to update her license when it expired in 2 years. Now, this led to the family filing for a temporary protective order to prevent the organ donation from happening for now, which was granted.
If we're granted what we're asking for, she will be surrounded by a lot of love, including her 2 sons, in the last moments that we will have her here on earth. She won't be shipped over the highway. She won't be cut open and then stuck in a freezer box until the funeral home get her. She's gonna go the way her family would want her to go, the way she would have wanted to go, not alone. A room full of strangers tearing you apart to get pieces of your organs. That's not what Jasmine would have wanted.
Now, we did reach out to Trinity Health Muskegon, who said in a statement, Trinity Health Muskegon is aware of the reported concerns between Gift of Life and the family of a patient who, prior to their change in condition, identified the wish to be an organ donor upon their death. Due to privacy laws and out of respect for the family, we are unable to comment and are referring questions to Gift of Life Michigan. We continue to express our deepest sympathies to the family involved. Now, Gift of Life also said they cannot comment on specifics, but they say if a patient is not a registered donor, the legal next of kin can refuse or authorize donation. However, they say legal next of kin cannot override a first-person authorization without evidence that the donor, even though registered, did not intend to donate or had the registration revoked. Now, Jasmine Phillips' family also claims that they were given a form releasing her body to a funeral home, but that didn't end up happening. This case could go before a judge as early as tomorrow morning. Sue.
Trinity Health killed my cousin, man. They did not attend to her like they should have right away when she was in the hospital. She in the room screaming, talking about her head hurt. They did not rush to tend to her. They just giving her bottles of water, talking about she dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I can't wait till her auntie make to her side of the story, because her auntie was there. I'm just being told what the fuck was going on. You feel me? Like, how do y'all be so careless to tend to people that's sick, that's screaming, that's complaining, like, regardless of how y'all feel about them or whatnot, like, so careless. Y'all just don't give a fuck. Y'all just taking y'all little old time just giving her water. Little snacks and stuff, talking about, oh, you know, her blood sugar levels. Like, what the fuck? Y'all could be doing way more than what y'all did. Y'all failed to tend to her properly. Y'all was not in a rush. Y'all don't give a fuck. And the government set this shit up too because it's only one hospital in Muskegon. Because they want to tear down and make more schools and shit. Just get rid of all the damn hospitals. No, we need more hospitals. We need better doctors, better nurses that's going to rush and tend to all patients. Just like they would if it was their loved ones. But no, y'all just want to take y'all time to, she dehydrated. Just get her some water. And she in there screaming, talking about my head. The fluid just swelling over her brain and she just feeling it. My head. What the fuck? And y'all just like, oh, get her some water. She just dehydrated. Bitch, the fuck? Y'all fucked up for this shit, bro. Y'all fucked up and y'all wronged in the motherfucker. And y'all gonna get what's coming to y'all.
You know what's so interesting about this? Because I think this movie must have just came out because Tubi is not that old, right? But let me tell you, I actually used to be an organ donor on my driver's license a long time ago when I first got my driver's license. Because they made it sound so, oh, it's so nice. You know, you're giving all your organs, plus you're already gone anyways, right? Once it does happen. But then I was listening to this man. It was a black man. He was at an interview, you know, it's actually, I've shared a video of this man before. He was talking about Michael Jackson being shot allegedly with a laser, and he has like gray hair. Older man. You could tell he's very wise. He's lived a few lifetimes. Cause he looked like he's very old and mature. Okay, I'm not disrespecting the man. I'm just trying to describe him because you guys have seen him in my videos. But anyways, he actually was talking about that. Like, you know, when something like this happened and you are a perfect match, then they can send someone on the road to hit you purposely, simply to get your organs. So when I heard about that, I think because I was still with my ex, Thomas. I was still with him. So that was like 2017 when I heard that documentary, or not documentary, it was an interview. So I was like, you know what, this makes sense. Okay, because first of all, just from watching what's going on in the news and all that stuff, and you know, you just know that you're in a country where you're just not welcome. It's like, you know, people just coexist with you just because they have to. And because you're legal and they have to. And you know what, that's a jump topic, but this is the reason why I like Trump. Even though like what he's doing, I don't agree with half the things that he's doing, but he allowed people to really be who they really are, you know, because you get to see like who was really like a racist and who was not, because he basically allowed people, that's like the only thing I like about this man, right? And then his business sense also, although he's using it against like the poor to give to the rich kind of thing. But when I go back to this, anyways, so my thing is, I went and decided to, I'm getting to the point. I went and decided to switch it. So I went whenever it was my birthday to switch it over, because I was like, hell no, I'm not about to do this, because if I'm going to live, I want to live all my years that I'm supposed to be here. I'm not about to, you know, put this, try to be a good Samaritan. Okay? And then someone just in my good life because they want my organs. You know what I mean? So I decided to take that shit off. I was like, nah, fuck that shit. I don't care. So then I called. Well, I went to the thing and they gave me this number to call because you couldn't change it at the place. I had to call this number and I had to call this other number. I was like on the line forever. It took me forever. I don't know what was the reason why I couldn't change it at the driver's license place, because that's where I got it from. When I was getting my regular license this way instead of like the long way, they offered it and they just made it sound like you were just being an angel. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm brand new here, because that was my first license. You know, I wasn't born in America. So I'm like, oh, well, this sounds nice. Maybe everybody has this. This is my first time having a license, you know, and maybe everybody does this. So I did that. And then thank goodness that man, I listened to his interview and I was like, you know what? I don't care. This sounds very legit. Like this, something like this could happen because, you know, people just simply hate you because of your skin tone, and then but everything inside you they want, you know. It's like the talent, the organs, because it will take, like the body won't reject it, you know, just like the movie Get Out. They wanted the man's eyes because he had good eyes for painting. And then in They Clone Tyrone, they wanted like everything except the flow and rhythm. No, they want the rhythm and the flow, but not the person who brings it, you know. It's just like, it sounds like, oh, wow, this makes sense to me. So when I took it out, I was like, the hell with this, the hell with that. If I want to donate part of, you know, my kidney or something, whatever part of whatever I need to donate to my children, I'll do that. But I ain't gonna do it for no random person simply, you know, because you just never know. You know, you can't trust humans, period. You just have to always have a side eye. You know, so when I saw this, and that is one of the reasons why I brought this video too, because I just found it to be very interesting that a lot of people simply don't know this. Because if somebody had told me this way before, I would have never put it in my thing. I would have never put it in my thing. Okay? Because working in the healthcare field, you see a lot of interesting things. You see a lot of interesting things. And I can't get into it because clearly I was an employee. So, but you see a lot of interesting things that make you scratch your head. And it makes you say, wow, 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 wow. Because at the end of the day, this is true. The red bus people who comes to get blood, they'll be at the high school or they'll be, you know, somewhere on the streets. They're offering you a free movie ticket and a slice of pizza for your blood, for your plasma. but then they charge someone at the hospital so much money for this free plasma. You know, it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And then I can't imagine that many people are donating blood, because where do you get the blood to give to the people at the hospital? When you don't have, because let me tell you something. There's something interesting that I heard, a story that's interesting that I heard, and it's not my place to tell that story at all. And it's not a story, it's a real thing that happened where they actually gave the wrong blood to the child at the hospital, which caused the child to have like a terminal disease. And you know, and they knew the blood was not good. They knew it, and they still did it. It wasn't no hospital that I worked at, honey. But my thing is, you gotta be careful. You gotta have discernment. And a lot of time, yes, you're in a pinch and you have to do it. But that is, you know, why I always find it interesting that the people, like, there's this religion, I think it's Jehovah's Witness, that basically won't accept blood at the hospital because of their religion. That's very interesting. It's very interesting. Not to say that if I need some blood that you're not will give me the blood. Give me the blood. But make sure it's clean, okay? Make sure it's clean. And yeah, just, you know what I mean? Because it's people are weird. People are so weird. And hospitals are weird. And you know, just mind your organs, okay, please? Because when you hear stuff like this going on in the world, you just wonder, like, how can we be so evil to each other? Like, that's so mean. That's just so crazy. Did you guys hear about the conspiracy with Selena Gomez? And allegedly, this is all alleged. And the Kanika Jenkins situation. There's a whole conspiracy about that. If you guys want me to make a video, I will. But there's a whole conspiracy about that. You know how, like, she has lupus or something? There's a whole conspiracy. I'll have to talk about this. This is all a legend. This is all for entertainment purposes only, so do not come for me, okay? Yes. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. I know I like ramble. I like just... but I like to talk. And anyways, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Love you. I hope you enjoyed this video.
There's been stories on this. Kidnapped by the government. Kidnapped by organ traffickers.
Drive-by shootings is organ stealing.
I'm worth $50 million and I need a kidney. And you know, kidneys are pretty sensitive. You gotta find somebody who really got the kidney that matches yours. You think I'm gonna wait till somebody die for me to get one? If I don't get one soon, I'm gonna die. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pay somebody to go research people. Okay, let's go look at all the black organ donors. Let's look at all the black people who got organ donor on their driver's license, which is why I'm not a friend of that. I say, if you wanna donate your organs, put it in your will. Say that if I die, this could go to my family, my relatives, my friends, or whomever. But when you put it on your license, I believe you make yourself a public target. And so what did they find? We got a guy in Los Angeles. He has the same blood type as you, same kidney type as you likely. He healthy though. He ain't likely to die no time soon. He don't know you, so he ain't gonna give you no organ for free. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna arrange a murder that makes it look like he was in a car accident. We're gonna arrange a murder that makes it look like he committed suicide. So the next thing you know, you coming out the gas station, boom, you get hit by a Mack truck. You dead, gone. You get taken to the funeral home. Your family come to the funeral. They don't know that before your body got laid to rest, a little hole was poked and they pulled your kidney out.
The University of Utah for life-saving organ transplants and treatment. One person could save as many as 8 lives by donating organs. So this Wellness Wednesday, that's our focus, because April is National Organ Donation Gift of Life Month. The green ribbon brings attention to the importance of organ donation.
And this was given to me by one of our recent living liver donors.
Dr. Jean Bota transplants livers at least as much as he can now that he directs donor services for Intermountain Health. It's a profession he really loved from the start. Bota would love it if everyone checked the organ donation box on their driver's license.
And human body parts shifting from Detroit to Chicago as the feds launch a new raid.
And once again, hundreds of families will be left wondering if the bodies of loved ones have been bought and sold on the black market.
7 Action News investigator Jim Kirchner is here tonight with a story you'll see only on 7. Jim.
Stephen and Carolyn, this case started here, according to sources, when a man named Arthur Rathburn was shipping human body parts through Metro Airport. Get this, the box leaked blood. Those cargo haulers then called for help. Why were you stockpiling hundreds of human body parts here, sir? That's Art Rathburn. And remember his business 13 months ago? For 2 days, federal investigators dressed in hazmat suits removed body parts of 1,000 different people. Arms, legs, heads cut up and kept on ice, not embalmed, so they would be fresh for the black market. Today, the rundown warehouse on Detroit's east side is shuttered and up for sale. Sources say Rathburn's seized records led them to the Chicago area today, a business called Biological Resource Center in Rosemont. It's difficult to see from the outside, but sources say the hazmat suits and raid are underway on the 6th floor of this office building. The same paper trail led investigators to Biological Resource Center in Phoenix last January, and another raid removing body parts and corpses. There were also ties to similar businesses in Las Vegas. Since these dealt directly with the public, families were left without answers. Julie donated her husband Steve's body and was promised his cremated remains back in a month.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good. And it doesn't sound like it is.
What do you say to all those families who had no idea their loved ones were in here? Michigan pulled Art Rathburn's license last year after our reporting, even though they were told about his problems 2 years before.
You can go find out what the heck he is doing, and that wasn't done. Right?
Did we do something 2 years ago? No, we didn't. Are we doing an investigation now? Yes, we are.
Are you worried about going to prison? Now, no one has been charged by the feds yet. There are actually 2 locations involved in this raid going on right now in the Chicago area. The offices in Rosemont and the lab in another suburb where they have found body parts. But my sources say this case is winding down, and with this new evidence in Chicago, they can now finish this case after some 13 months.
This is so gruesome. Any idea how many families you're talking about here with loved ones that may be involved?
It's going to depend a lot on the records. It depends if they're talking hundreds or thousands, and with those records that they've seized, and are those records even up to date, or
have you guys noticed all the homeless people disappearing from your cities? Usually, you will see groups of homeless people scattered throughout the town. But in the recent years, it's like they all just left and disappeared. Even in China, their people have disappeared. Now, it's a conspiracy out there that they have snatched these people up and did organ harvesting on them. Not only that these higher-ups need these organs, but this is a billion-dollar industry. They put this stuff right in our face. Now, they would prefer melanated body parts because it doesn't reject the body. If a melanated being was to receive an organ from a human being, the organ would fail in the body anywhere from 1 to 5 years. But our organs will work in their body for the rest of their life. Now, they would do this cleanup around Valentine's Day in February. While we celebrating the holidays, eating our heart-shaped candy, they are doing their rituals, eating hearts too, but it isn't candy. And the rest of the body parts will be put on ice and sent out to whoever needs them. This isn't a conspiracy anymore. This is a multi-billion-dollar business. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Protect those who are vulnerable. Peace and ashe.
I'm watching a movie on Tubi. This is for educational purposes only. Read the subtitles and listen to this very closely, because I've been trying to tell people.
Very powerful people want you. For what? You know when you're reading your driver's license, there's that little check about donating an organ? Well,
Never.
Yes, it puts you on a special list.
Especially us.
Very powerful people have access to. And one of them needs, let's say, a heart, and they're AB positive, like yourself. They send someone to go get it. And in this case, that someone is me.
He was a police officer in the previous scene.
Sometimes we arrange for a car accident. Sometimes some gym mats will just accidentally fall on someone.
Come on now, not them admitting it in the movie.
Just stop where we want them.
Educational purposes.
This is crazy. You stole out my car just to take my heart.
Pay attention.
Are you guys serious? Is this a joke?
I told y'all. They make car accidents, fake gang wars, fake shootouts, all this shit to get.
Like I said, we're going to touch up some stuff on this book. So in this book is called Spell of Abundance, Love, Wealth, and Protection. So in this book, on the first page, actually, I have a glamour affirmation that you will basically say, you stand in front of the mirror and you stare at yourself and you admire yourself and you will say to yourself how beautiful you are. You'll basically seal this your beauty, like your glam, after you've done your makeup, or even stand in front of the mirror naked with nothing on, so you can really reaffirm yourself of your beauty, of your confidence and all that. This book is mainly for like self-confidence and self-elevation, you know, calling the goddess in you, calling the divinity in you, you know, calling the beauty in you, and also work with the moon, because the moon represents the woman, the mother, womb, water, all of this. So yeah, I have all the steps in here of all the spells that you need to do. It even has one for to get rid of unwanted guests. It's pretty funny. To get rid of unwanted guests. And this book right here, right? So I'm gonna run down real quick of all the materials that you're going to need. You will need a brand new broom. It has to be brand new. And you'll need a piece of parchment paper, a black pen, a black trash bag, because we're going to get rid of this sucker, right? And of course your intentions. And also I have spells on here that you can say. I have daily affirmations. And also I have spells on here that you can do every single day to work with the energy of the planets of the day, and also the archangels that work with the day. So anyways, there's so many spells. There's a 7-day manifestation spell with archangels. And let's see. A 30-day money spell with bay leaves and the Fihu sign, which is a money sign. It's like an F with the extra part. Anyways, the symbol's there, and I even show you like what you need to do, what the sigil look like, all that. And the keys to enhance your spell. So there are different things on here on how to enhance your spell and basically grow your finance, grow your love, self-love, self-admiration, chance to say to yourself to give you that extra energy to go about your day. And also tips to enhance your spell. Oh, I already said this. And morning coffee abundance prosperity spell. You guys remember I just shared a video about morning coffee and how important it is when it comes to hoodoo, and how you can basically use your first cup of coffee in the morning to manifest a better life or a better day, or to bring forth money to you. So don't let, you know, you're already doing these things anyway, so you might as well just incorporate something a little bit extra to basically boost your thing. And here's to influence your boss spell. So this one, I'm sure people who are actually working are going to love this. It's to influence your boss and attract favors towards you at work. Because look, in this economy, we're all working and we need some boost at work, and we also sometimes need to be tied to our job, so therefore you don't get fired. You know what I mean? So there's some stuff that you could do to basically tie yourself to your job, and or tie the job to you. And once you're done and you're all tired of that job, you can get rid of it. It's not something that's completely permanent, but use magic, guys. It's here for you to use. You have the herbs in your closet, you have the herbs in your pantry, you have the candles that you could just simply buy some candles super cheap. Use magic to elevate your life. Use magic to make yourself better. Let me tell you, Jesus was out here using magic, okay? Walking on water and stuff and turning water into wine. Sounds like magic to me. But anyways, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.